This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. What you just heard there was me playing some blues, quite obviously. Thing is though, whenever I do a blues lead guitar themed video, I'm usually telling you all about the Dorian mode or using the Mixolydian mode for double stops, and maybe even introducing some jazzy exotic stuff like the super Locrian or diminished or whole tone scales or all that kind of stuff. And all that sort of stuff does have its place, but I was using nothing other than the plain old simple minor pentatonic there. I just want to bang the drum and sing the praises of the minor pentatonic a little bit today, because I feel it does get a little bit derided possibly sometimes. People think it's the beginner's scale, it's what you learn on and then you move on to better and greater things. Well, no, it's a fantastic sounding scale for playing blues and many genres of music in its own right. And what I thought I'd do today is share with you a few of the little tips and phrasing tricks that I use when I'm playing blues using any scale, but which are especially effective when using a pentatonic. Here they are.
Lick explanation.
Okay, let's have a look at a few of the little phrasing tricks that you can use to get the most out of the humble pentatonic scale. These are things that I use all the time. I mean, it's fun every now and again to get the Dorian and the Mixolydian modes out of the wrapper, and maybe even the diminished scale and all that kind of fancy stuff as well. But if you concentrate on the pentatonic, what it does is it makes you kind of think of getting the most from the least amount of notes. There's only 5 notes in there, so you've really got to concentrate on phrasing. First thing I want to talk about is where you can add a little bit of tension by playing in a little bit more busy kind of fashion. This is where we've got the ascent from the 1 chord up to the 4 chord. So you might have, like your 1 chord, in this case we're going to be in A, and then that on that kind of ascent up to the 4 chord. That's a great place to play a little bit more busily. So I'm going to mute the mic now and try and hopefully show you what I mean by that. See what I mean there? You can sort of do it on the way up to the 5 chord as well, but it was all kind of quite sparse, and then I went into something like that, just playing, something that's a little bit more kind of densely populated than the surrounding landscape. Which brings me on to the next thing. A great way of, kind of utilising that particular technique is to play repetitive licks. Okay, we're going to have a look at a particular way that you can use repetitive licks shortly, or something that you can do to make a repetitive lick sound more interesting. But let's just take the first part of that lick that I played earlier. Something like that I played, I can't remember what it was. But basically, let's just take that and put that into that point there where we're going from the 1 chord up to the 4 chord, and you'll hear that it builds quite a bit of tension. It's like the sheer repetitiveness of it is what gives it it feels like it needs to go somewhere, and basically I'm going to break out of it with a bend like that, probably something like this. So at 3 points there, I played like a repetitive style lick on the way from the 1 chord up to the 4 chord, so bars 4 to 5. Then on the way from the 1 chord up to the 5 chord in bars 8 to 9. And then at the end of the 12 bar sequence in bar 12, as we're coming back to the beginning again, that's another place where you can do it. So save your most flashy or twiddly licks for those points in the chord sequence, and that's where they're going to have the main effect. Now, another thing that, I mean, you probably know this already, but I'll mention it anyway, the blues curl. Okay, when you're playing blues with a pentatonic scale, you're using the minor pentatonic usually, which has this note in it, this C note. Okay, now the chord that defines what we're playing is this A7, which has this note. So, it doesn't take a genius to work out that this note is in the scale, this note is in the chord. What we're going to do is, whenever we land on this note in the scale, we're going to pull it slightly towards the note that's in the chord, but not quite get there. And again, this is a way of adding angst and tension, because it feels like the note is kind of just reaching for something beyond the horizon. So I'll show you what I mean. If I play just a simple run of notes like that, nothing at all complex about that. But if I just tweak that note slightly sharp, listen how much more bluesy it sounds. See what I mean? So then just go start and hunt for wherever that note, in this case a C, is in the rest of your patterns, There it is there. Here it is down here. Or here it is up here. Like that. So that blues curl, that microtonal bend, is an essential thing for making a pentatonic scale sound bluesy. To me, it's even more important than the fabled that flat 5 blue note that people talk about. For me, this is an even more important part of making a blues solo sound bluesy, just putting that little microtonal bend in. And the final thing I want to talk about here is a little bit of syncopation. We've seen already about how effective a repetitive lick can be on those ascents from usually the 1 chord to the 4 chord, but elsewhere as well. So a little bit of syncopation. What I was doing with those licks was I was playing, and I'm just going to fire up a metronome now so I can illustrate this. I was playing triplets, 3 notes per beat. How do you know what a triplet sounds like? You just say the word evenly on each beat. So there we go. Evenly, 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 da 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 da. If I start playing some notes into that, then I'll get some triplet licks. Okay, so 3 notes per beat is going to give you triplets, and I was playing a lick with 3 notes in it, 3 notes per beat. You know, seems obvious. You can have some real fun though by playing a lick that's got 4 notes per beat. There we go, let's just adding that extra note on the end there. Let's see what that sounds like played 3 notes per beat. It just, because you will naturally always accent or emphasize the first note in each group, which is that one there, like that. But because we're playing an uneven number of notes per beat, or we're playing 3 notes per beat but there's 4 notes in the lick, you're getting a bit of syncopation happening. Here's what it sounds like over the top of the chord sequence. So there you go. That is the effect that syncopation has. This is something that you'll hear all of the great blues guitarists doing. Gary Moore, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, Albert King. Everybody does it because it's just such an effective technique. Now, it's just a great way of getting a repetitive lick to sound more interesting because, it's got that sort of syncopated element to it. It feels like it's tripping over itself a little bit. It's repeating, but it's not repeating in the same way relative to the beat each time you hear it, which is what makes it sound more interesting. It's a great thing to be able to just park your fingers in a repetitive lick like that. So you're not having to think too much about what you're doing, and while you're doing that, you're thinking about what lick to play next, a placeholder lick, you can think of that as. So there you go, there's a few phrasing techniques that you can use to get the most mileage, hopefully, out of the humble pentatonic scale when it's applied in a blues context. Take what you've learned here and go away and have some fun with it. And as usual, you'll find a full tab for that solo at the start of the video in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it, that little explanation clip that you've just seen there, and a jam track to play along with yourself. Excuse me. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address, and the link is in the description. $3 or £2.50 a month gets you access to all of these additional resources that go along with these YouTube videos. A massive heartfelt thank you to everyone who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are also linked down below in the description. And that is pretty much the video for today, folks. Make of it what you will. Hope you've enjoyed it and found it useful and informative and possibly even entertaining in some small way. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. Why not give me a like while you're at it? As always, I'll just mention the live stream every Friday 5 PM UK time, where we have a beer and talk about music and guitars. Great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.